Welcome to my YouTube channel Wise Whispers, where silence speaks. My name is Grace, and I am 63 years old. I never thought a family trip would become the moment that changed my entire life, but sometimes the people you trust the most teach you the hardest lessons. It started on a warm summer morning. My son Daniel and his wife Clara invited me on a road trip across the country. "Dad, you deserve a break," Daniel said with a smile. I was happy. After years of working hard and raising him alone after his mother passed away, I believed this trip was a chance for us to reconnect. We packed the car with snacks, luggage, and laughter. At least that's how it seemed in the beginning. The first day of the trip was peaceful. We drove through beautiful landscapes, stopped for coffee, and took pictures. I felt hopeful. For the first time in years, I felt like my son truly wanted me around. But something slowly started to change. Daniel and Clara would whisper to each other when they thought I wasn't listening. They laughed quietly and sometimes looked at me with strange expressions. I ignored it, telling myself I was just overthinking. On the third day, we stopped in a small town near a highway motel. Clara said she wanted to shop in a nearby store. "Dad, you wait here for a few minutes," Daniel told me. "We'll be right back." I nodded and sat on a bench outside the motel. The afternoon sun was hot, and I watched cars pass by on the road. 10 minutes passed, then 30, then an hour. At first I thought maybe the store was busy, but when 2 hours passed and their car was gone, a cold feeling settled in my chest. I called Daniel. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. Finally, a message appeared on my phone. "Dad, it's better if we continue the trip alone. You'll understand someday." That was it. No explanation, no apology. Just a message that felt like a knife in my heart. I sat there in silence, staring at the screen. My own son had left me alone in the middle of nowhere. I won't lie, I cried. At 63 years old, I felt more lonely than I ever had in my life. I had given everything to raise that boy, every overtime shift, every sacrifice, every dream I had postponed. And this was how it ended. But after the tears came something else. Clarity. That evening I found a small bus station and bought a ticket home. The ride was long, but during those quiet hours I thought about my life. When I arrived at my house, it didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like a place filled with memories of people who didn't value me. So I made a decision. A bold one. Within the next 3 months I sold almost everything I owned. The house, the old car, the furniture that had been sitting untouched for years. My neighbors were shocked. "JRACE, what are you doing?" one of them asked. I smiled and replied, "Starting over." With the money I received, I bought a small camper van. Nothing fancy, just enough to travel and live simply. For the first time in decades, my life belonged only to me. I drove through mountains, quiet villages, and peaceful lakes. I met kind strangers who treated me with more respect in a single day than my own family had shown in years. One evening, while sitting beside a lake watching the sunset, I realized something important. Being alone doesn't always mean being lonely. Sometimes being alone means being free. Months later, Daniel finally called me. His voice sounded nervous. "Dad, where are you? We came by the house, but it's sold." I paused before answering. "I'm on the road," I said calmly. "What do you mean?" "It means I decided to live my life for myself." He was silent for a moment. Then he said quietly, "We didn't think you'd take it so seriously." Those words told me everything. They thought I would simply forgive and forget. But respect is something people must learn. "I hope you and Clara are doing well," I said, "but I won't return to the life I had before." I ended the call peacefully, without anger. Because by then I had already moved forward. Today I'm still traveling. I wake up in new places, meet new people, and watch sunsets that remind me life is still beautiful, even after betrayal. Sometimes I think about that day on the motel bench. At the time, it felt like the worst moment of my life. But strangely, it became the beginning of my freedom. And if there's one thing I've learned at 63 years old, it's this. Family should never take your kindness for weakness, and if someone abandons you, don't beg them to stay. Build a life so strong that you no longer need them. Moral of the story: respect yourself enough to walk away from those who do not value you. Sometimes the greatest new beginnings come from the deepest betrayals.